What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so I was on X/Twitter earlier today, and I saw a posting from the brother Jesse Gladsaget. Shout out to Jesse Gladsaget, one of our subscribers, and used to upload videos on YouTube, not related to basketball, just funny stuff. Used to be part of the Bruce Blitz podcast back in the day. But anyway, he posted his video of Adam Silver. I guess he was recently on the Pat McAfee show, and he was talking about, well, in the clip that I saw at least, they were talking about how the NBA has rebounded in the second half of the season from the terrible ratings that were plaguing the NBA earlier in the season. And he brought up a multitude of things that have transpired in the second half of the season to help push the ratings up to the point where the end of the season saw just a 2% decline in ratings compared to last year, which he said was basically a victory considering where they were earlier in the year and also the continuing deterioration, decline of ratings in traditional television formats anyway. So he made the same excuses, the presidential election and the World Series as excuses for why the ratings were down, which doesn't make any sense because the World Series is held every year. And ratings weren't down in 2020 or 2016. Those are presidential election years. But anyway, but pay attention to what he says is one of the reasons as to why the ratings went up.
Let's talk about the season as a whole and the state of the NBA. Obviously, you signed a brand new broadcasting deal. Congratulations. Some people are calling it greatest deal that they've ever seen negotiated and get done. So way to go. ESPN obviously benefiting from it, other partners as well. Then the report comes out that the ratings were down 2% this year versus last year. I've always been a proponent of the fact that the NBA runs digital, runs social. Whenever the NBA is happening, it takes over X, it takes over everything, and that's a massive piece of your younger demographic. But to the ratings component from this season only, do you think there's been two different leagues or seasons for you guys? Pre-All-Star game, post-All-Star game. I think post-All-Star game, everything up, right? Do you agree with that sentiment? And
yeah, Pat, it's a great way to put it because you remember the narrative early in the season was that the ratings were down. In fact, they were down. There was a competitive World Series of presidential elections. There were a bunch of factors, I think, that led to our ratings being down early on. But in order to end up down 2% or relatively flat for the season, which is a victory these days, especially with declining television viewership from traditional television, that's a victory. And the reason that happened is, just as you said, essentially post All-Star, the ratings picked up a lot. In fact, to end up just down 2% for the season from where we came from, the ratings had to be up significantly. And I think you saw, tremendous competition around the league, teams playing, for playoff seedings, teams playing to get into the playoffs, healthy stars, a trade that attracted a lot of attention. A bunch of things happened in the league that generated a lot of interest.
Now, you may have heard that about the trade. Now, that's people like, Too Raw, you reaching right here, man. You're reaching. He could just be saying, look, the trade just happened to occur, and the trade had the added benefit of creating huge interest and renewed interest in the NBA, a seismic trade which had a pairing of one of the great stars of the league, someone who's going to be a star for at least a decade to come, teaming up with the guy who's been arguably the biggest star in basketball the past 10 years. I guess he has been. Still an ass clown. It just happenstance. And I have to say to that, bullshit. To me, man, I'm not saying LeBron James knew or orchestrated the trade. I'm not saying that, okay? Although people have their opinions on that. But I refuse to believe. I'm sorry. I just refuse to believe that only 2 people knew, or 3 or 4 people knew about this trade. I just refuse to believe this shit, man. I just refuse to believe, with all of the things that get leaked in the NBA time and time and time and time again, that only Nico Harrison, Dallas management or ownership, Lakers management, and the owner, Rob Pelinka and Jenny Buss, the only ones who knew about this trade. Then there was that photo that circulated after the trade of Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka seen in public, maybe in a restaurant talking. First of all, who took that photo? Secondly, why did that photo only come out after the trade? If somebody would just happen to take that photo, what should have happened was somebody should have uploaded that photo on social media and said, look, man, I see Rob Pelinka talking to Nico Harrison. What's going on? Why is the general manager of the Mavericks talking to the general manager of the Lakers? Is something going on? That should have caused speculation then. Because who took the photo? I think that trade was initiated to A, help LeBron James win a championship or increase the odds of him winning a championship, and to create some type of buzz to generate renewed interest in the NBA, which was struggling. Okay? That's what I think occurred. And I think most people believe that. And I think Adam Silver, said just enough so that it's plausible deniability that there was any premeditation on the league's part to initiate some type of move or big trade to occur. Because I'm not even saying that it was destined that Luka was going to be traded, but the league was going to try to do something. I do believe that as much. I do believe that much. The NBA was going to try to do some type of huge deal or make some move, preferably taking one of their big stars in a middle market or small market and putting them in a huge market. Preferably the Lakers. That's what I thought was going to happen. Not that I think was happening. I think that's what they were trying to do, I should say. That's what they think they was going to try to do. That's what they were trying to do. I heard rumors they were trying to get Giannis. Giannis don't want to go no motherfucking way. Giannis want to stay in Milwaukee and win a championship there. And I think all of this stuff, a lot of this stuff, man, I'm sorry, man. I've been around for 44 years, man. You can't convince me that sports entertainment is not rigged to a certain extent. LeBron James just said on the Pat McAfee show, this didn't get really any traction. He just basically said a couple weeks ago, that the 2003 NBA draft was rigged. He said out of his own mouth. LeBron James. So, you can't get mad at people being skeptical of this bullshit, man. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I was still just basically admitted that the Luka trade was done to push up sagging ratings. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.